Hello, everyone. Welcome to DivorceRX, where today we bring experts in the field of the divorce process itself to you each and every week. And each week, you get the opportunity to meet with us back on our private Facebook group right after this call, where you can ask our guest anything that you'd like, and you have access to them. So what I'm going to ask you to do is actually join our membership. It's just $7 a month, and it gives you the opportunity to not only speak with our expert from today, but the other experts that we have, from real estate to legal to accounting and tax management issues, wealth management and financial advice. Marriage and family counselors are there, and child psychologists, the works. We have all of those people back there. Post your question, and we will have somebody answer them for you. So thank you very much for being here today, because today we have something on tap for you that for me was very, very, very important. And I wish that I had known Sofia back then, because this conversation today is about when you are a couple, you are a we. Everything that you talk about is we are going here, we are doing this, we are doing that, we bought this, we are going here. And suddenly you're not a we anymore. Suddenly you're a me. And if you're like me, that was a very difficult thing to get through. So today, I have an amazing, not only is she an amazing therapist, but she's also a wonderful friend. And I've been watching her practice grow, and she has an amazing reputation here in South Florida. Her name is Sofia Robirosa. She is a relationship expert that has a passion to help people transform their lives and their relationships. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist, and she's in private practice here right around the corner from my house in Plantation, Florida. So you can learn more about Sofia and her website at infinitetherapeuticsservices.com. So welcome, Sofia. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Hi, Vicki. Hi, everybody. What an introduction. Thank you so much.
Well, I am so glad that you're here, because this conversation is one that I think that you need to go through before you put your tootsies back in the water to perhaps experience a new relationship, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's about a journey. It's about a journey, as you described, to go from us to yourself. So getting back to you. And whether you envision it as how you were before you got married, or a transformation from there, either one, it's a transformation. So I'm very passionate about this, and I think that divorce can be very damaging for people, but it can also, once you heal, you can thrive and have the life that you always wanted. And I have seen that happen with many people that I've worked with.
Myself included, because I liken the healing process during this is almost like a cocoon and a butterfly, right? We really are that, because we're in that healing time before we come out in our butterfly, but we have to go through that, and we have to go through the struggles. So why don't we get started, because I know you've created an amazing presentation for us today, and so I want to start that really quickly so that we can get through the information that you have amazingly delivered for us today.
Yes, I'll set it up here. So no more us, get back to you. That's the title that I came up with this, because in a nutshell it says it, right? What we will be talking about. Just to add a little more of what you were saying about me, I love relationships. I'm here in Plantation. I work with multiple diversities and cultures. So many people wonder why, being a relationships expert, I want to talk about this topic. And to tell you, Vicki, one of the most important relationships is the one that you have with yourself. You know, as a as a marriage and family therapist, yes, I do deal a lot with couples and with families and parents with children, their relationship and their dynamics. But many people also come see me when they are going through a major transition in their life. And divorce is one of those big ones. Divorce is a big transition in their life, and it has to do with the end of a relationship and the healing of getting back to feeling like yourself. So it's about your relationship with yourself. That's the way I see it,
Right.
in terms of a relationship with you.
And is there a reason, Sophia, that you like the divorcee part of it? Because I know that's a really super big part of your practice. That divorce, was it that transition? What was it that made you really interested in working with divorcees?
I just love the transition. I love to help individuals that come see me go from thinking and experiencing such a stressful time in their life into getting back on their feet and finding a purpose and a reconnection to things that maybe they stopped connecting with for any reason, and just transforming their life back to something that they love. So it's truly a magical process, and I thoroughly enjoy it.
Good. I'm sorry. Go ahead and let's, because these are beautiful slides.
So, as you were mentioning in the introduction, Vicky, during marriage, right, as this is a Venn diagram, it's the best way, I think, to see what you were describing, right? You're you on one side, your spouse on the other side, and then there's a big overlap, and probably much bigger than the little overlap that you see here. There's the us part. You're sharing everything. You're sharing your finances, a household, children possibly, retirement plans, everything. You might even have decided on a job that you're working on to fit it into the relationship. Let go dreams to make the relationship run smoother. Whatever it may be, there's a lot of things that have to do with the us part of the marriage. Everything in the relationship is about we and us, as you were saying, directly or indirectly. So when divorce happens, the us part, as you see, goes away, right? The divorce, the part that you go through with your lawyer, ends on a contract on the division of assets. It states clearly things related to children if you have children, but it really doesn't help very much with defining how emotionally you will separate yourself from that person.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
Truth.
Go ahead.
I said, isn't that the truth?
Yeah, I mean that whatever many pages of document, it's a contract. It's a contract that defines all the financial things and assets and the children, but it really leaves a very big void and a place for an opportunity to start over individually. But it can be very, very confusing. It leaves you lost. It turns from a relationship that you got into because of love, because you want to spend your life with that person forever and ever. All that goes away once the divorce starts, and only this transaction is left. It becomes truly just a business transaction. So it can be very confusing how to go through that and how to see a side from a person that you have never seen before. And then it also changes completely the family structure, because if you have children now, the kids have to get used to two households. If you were close with your in-laws and the other relatives of your ex, now you might be redefining how that relationship might be, or if it's going to be over completely with that person. It might change also your dynamics with your own family and relatives, because they might view your decision of getting divorced, or the decision that was imposed on you, with judgment, and so you might be looking at your family differently as well, getting closer to other people as well. And it can change your lifestyle altogether, because the income or incomes that were used for one household now are getting split in two, and sometimes divorces might not end up in a fair situation for one of the parties as many times happen, right? So it can be a very confusing time. There's lots of things that get redefined at that point. So when people come see me as a family therapist, as a relationships expert, they come to with some of these things usually are describing depression, anxiety, alcohol or drug abuse increase, sometimes health problems or general feelings of isolation. Health problems usually are doctors come to them and they go to a doctor's appointment and the doctors come tell them, you are going through so much stress, it's starting to affect your health, you need to do something about that, and they recommend counseling. Depression, people that go through divorce can experience a lot of depression based on the changes in the end of the relationship or the changes that we were discussing in the prior slide. Anxiety because of the unknown of all the changes that are coming up. They're not knowing how things are going to be is a very common response. With drugs and alcohol, Vicky, sometimes people increase their use or start using something just to help them transition through the process.
Right. And can I ask you a question, Sofia? Do people that come to you realize that sometimes they're experiencing the anxiety or depression due to divorce? Are they kind of aware of what that is?
Sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not at all, actually. Many times people come see me 2 years after their divorce, and they describe feeling, the feelings of depression and anxiety, so we identify it as depression and anxiety. But the most interesting part is that sometimes they don't connect it back to the divorce because they think that, oh, that was so long ago, and there's not a connect. They don't find it as being connected. I'm sorry. But then truly after we explore a little bit, then they realize that it started at that point and it has lingered because they really haven't found themselves again in some way. They haven't found that happiness and the things that they need to connect with in order to get back to their little circle, right? When we were looking at the circle separated, the you versus your ex-spouse, they're connecting with their own circle and moving past some of these things. So this is one really good question that I like to invite everybody on the call today to think about. What are some habits and relationships that you maintained individually from your spouse throughout your marriage? With this, I mean, what are some things that, as long as you can think, you have been doing that you love and you continue to love? Say, I don't know, maybe throughout the whole marriage, you did yoga. That was your thing. You love yoga. You never miss it. That's something that you have done throughout all the marriage. Or it's golf, right? Like you went golfing regularly, and that was your thing. Or any other smaller habit from drinking coffee every day in the morning to having tea before you're going to sleep. Any habit that you have always loved doing, as well as friendships and relationships. Your best friend that you've had throughout the marriage, before, during, or after, the person that is not connected necessarily to the marriage. Why do I think that this is an important question? It's very important to identify what was in your circle that wasn't shared with your ex-spouse while you were married, right? It's important to see what you maintained throughout the whole relationship in terms of the habits and the relationship, so that you keep focusing on those in a way. Simultaneously, asking yourself, what are some things that you changed to adapt to your spouse that you would like to reconnect to what now that you're divorced. For example, maybe you started playing golf because your spouse wanted to try it out, and then golf became your thing, right? So then it's not maybe about quitting golf, but it's about maybe finding a new golf course. It's about finding a way to maintain that thing that you picked up on while you were married, but maybe tweaking some things around so that you can maintain the activity, but maybe adjusting a few things so you feel comfortable how you're doing it, so that maybe it doesn't remind you so much about the relationship and that person.
I did that.
What's that?
I did that.
You did that?
Yeah, I became a huge Miami Dolphin fan like crazy. If you know me, you know I'm a crazy Dolphin fan.
Yeah.
You know, we used to have the seats and all of this other stuff, and so I just did it a different way. Sat in different seats, enjoyed it a different way, tailgated differently. Mm-hmm. Yeah, same thing. That's great advice.
Yeah, that's a great example, Vicky. Thank you for that. And what are so and then what are some things that so I've mixed the questions, I believe, in this one. What are some things that you changed about yourself? I read the third one instead of the second one. I apologize about that. But so basically, going back to the second one, what did you change for yourself to fit and still in the relationship? So maybe you lost some relationships throughout the marriage because they didn't fit in the marriage at that point. And maybe those are people that you should, you know, give a call, see if they can, now that you are single, if they can come back in your life, or different activities like that you stopped doing because they didn't fit the relationship, and maybe you should connect back with them. Mm-hmm. So is there an example of that for you, Vicky, that you started doing?
I know that I want to be a part of the ocean and the water. I want that in my life, and I gave that up to have a family, where we had a bigger backyard and we had a bigger home and things like that, and that was not in the price range of living on the water. But now I want that, and so I'm going back to that.
Yeah, that's a great example. So so maybe, many times people stop doing things to continue their relationship, to keep the status quo, to make the other person happy, because those are the goals of their relationship. But now that you're single again, maybe connecting back with some of those things is great. Many women, I hear that they reconnect with things like dancing, right? That's a typical thing that in some marriages doesn't work. Or they start traveling more. They do things like that once they're on their own again. And Vicky, how long would you say it took you to figure out the answers of some of these questions?
I would say that for me to how long did it get me to kind of figuring it all out? Mm-hmm. Was, and I use this as my my wake up thing, was about 2 years.
About 2 years.
Yeah, it was about 2 years for me to kind of crawl out from underneath my covers, and I say that in a very figurative way, because I was actually somebody that you probably would not have known. I was so depressed and angry and bitter, because I wasn't depressed and angry and bitter about my life. I was depressed and angry and bitter about my ex and the situation that I felt that he caused for me. And so, that was at about 2 years. And I said, what the heck am I doing this for? This is such a waste. I call those my wasted years, and they were about 2 years.
Yeah. Well, 2 years sounds about average for many people when it comes to big changes in their lives, such as divorce. It can take 2 years to adapt to a relocation, for example, from countries or states where the lifestyle is very different, for example. So 2 years, it's about the average time for most people to feel completely adapted to a big change that they just went through. So keeping that in mind, so that if you're not getting it yet, if it's around 2 years, or more or less, so just to give an idea to yourself, to be gentle that way, knowing that that's normal. So having answered these questions, you can look and those questions in all these different areas. So I talked a little bit about the friendships, the relationships, the daily habits, and the activities and the hobbies through those questions. But you can also ask yourself those questions about your job and your career. For example, are you in a job, or have you been in a job that was a 9-to-5er because that's what fit in the relationship, but truly your dream is to be in a job where you can travel a lot and see the world? And did you limit yourself through the relationship because that didn't fit at that moment? Maybe even start a new career. Maybe it's a good time to go back to school, right? Maybe you stayed with what you were doing because there was no time to go to school, but now you're finding it a priority. It might be a great time to do that. When it comes to health, did you neglect some of your, say, eating habits or eating routines and things like that because it wasn't a priority in the relationship, but you realize that looking back, somewhere in the relationship, you lost yourself in that way, and now it's a great time to eating better, taking care of yourself more, having all the meals throughout the day, things like that. When it comes to family, I mentioned this a little bit before, it might be time to look at your family and see where you're getting the support from. I don't know if this happened to you, Vicky, but I do hear this a lot from people that I have worked with that say maybe they used to go to their mother for most of the emotional support, and all of a sudden they discovered that their mother was judging them for getting divorced, and they had to start looking for support from other relatives.
Oh, interesting. I didn't have that, but I did change. I did change some, ways that I was taking care of myself from a health perspective.
Okay.
And while I never lost friends, I was very purposeful with, making sure I maintained my friends. But my job and career, it changed. I'm doing the CafeD. We're on this now because of my divorce, and I would never have done this, if everything had stayed the same. So I did make those changes, and it was based around my passion, and it was based around, the fact that I'm a life and business coach. So this all made a lot of sense for me personally. And I love doing things like this and helping people, move to that next level so that they don't have to do what I did. I want to accelerate the learning curve because there's a learning curve of all of this.
Yeah, and awareness.
It really is. And it's like when like that day that I kind of shook my head and said, enough. I just want everybody to get to that earlier. I don't want everybody to have those wasted years like I did.
Because the awareness helps. And looking at these things and knowing that looking into these things, to these different areas, asking yourself those questions can definitely accelerate the process. I have seen it happening. Mm-hmm. And just the last couple of areas to look at is, for some people, is about looking into their religion as well. Asking yourself, do you find the support that you need through maybe the place of worship that you go to, or the community around you? Are you feeling judged? Are you feeling supported? I've seen people make changes in that area as well, as to just a simple change maybe of place of worship has made a huge difference. And up to life purpose and goals. You were just talking about CafeD, right? It changed your goal in terms of this has become your purpose in a way, helping women and men that go through divorce get the recovery faster. So would have not happened before. So it can do that for many other people in many ways.
Right. Very true.
So, like I was saying earlier, it's about focusing on your circle. You know, because asking yourself these questions and looking at the different areas that I just went over with you guys makes you focus on you. So when you get divorced and there's no more overlap anymore, there's no more us, there's no more we, many people get continue to be focused on the us and on their ex-spouse's circle, right? What is she doing now with her time? What is he doing now with his time? Is he moving faster? Does he look happier than me? Does she look happier than me? And looking a lot about the past when they were together. So by asking yourself these questions, you will be looking up in the present moment. What are you doing right now? How are these areas affecting you or supporting you and helping you go to the next level? So you're really embracing your own circle. You're looking at you. And keeping in mind that divorce is a life-changing event. It's not easy. You know, as I was saying, I was relating this to other major life transitions, like even moving countries, right? It can be a complete change. It's on the top of the list of stressors in life. Divorce with the loss of somebody.
Right. It's the second one behind death, the death of a family member.
Exactly. So with that being said, is my next point. You know, be gentle to yourself. Know that this is hard. Know that even if you're doing everything that you are getting suggested through the wonderful resources of CafeD and all the other people that are supporting you through this journey, that it is going to be difficult and a journey. And also knowing that, Vicky, you have had forgiveness coaches. I'm going to add this to this presentation as well. It's very important to be open to the idea of forgiving so that it can help you focus on you.
I'm going to state, and I want everybody to understand on this call and anybody that listens to this in the future, forgiveness is not about saying it's okay. Forgiveness is about understanding that you may have had a debt that was owed you in your mind. You may have been owed fidelity or honesty. You may have felt that you were owed to be taken care of, and that you would be safe in your home and all of those things. And you're not going to get that now. It's just not going to happen. So you need to rip up that IOU so that you can just say, whatever. I'm done. I'm done worrying about this. I'm not even going to think about this. So forgiving isn't saying it's okay. Forgiving it is letting it go and not letting it control you, right?
Exactly, yeah. The forgiveness is more for you than for the other person.
Way more for you than for the other person, because the other person doesn't know whether you forgave them or her, didn't forgive him. It doesn't matter to that person. It just to eat at your soul. So by being able to let that go and let it have a place in history, so that you can then focus on the now and in your future, so that you can design the life that you want. And I love this idea of focusing on your own circle, your own you, because if you focus on his or her circle, what's he doing? Oh, she's remarried already. Or he's obviously, look at the pictures on Facebook, he's so happy. Let it go. Focus on your circle, and then let your circle grow, right?
Yes, absolutely. More clarity, more awareness, it will lead to happiness again, to feeling like yourself. And in doing some of my research for this presentation, and in general, I don't know when I really found this, but I love this quote, and interestingly, it is from Marilyn Monroe, and she said, "Sometimes good things fall apart so that better things can fall together."
Oh, it's so true. I love that, and I love Marilyn Monroe, and I love you too, and I wanted to let everybody know that we're coming up on the half an hour, and we are about to go back to our private Facebook group. and we are going to be open. Sofia is going to be back there to answer your questions. Like I said, she's a licensed therapist here in the South Florida community, so she has seen it all. She is a relationship expert. She has definitely taken up the charge with wanting to help people through the divorce transition, because it is a transition. It's not a life ender. It's not even a game changer. It's definitely not definitely not going to define you. So we want to welcome you and ask you to join us in our private Facebook group. And to do that, you go to thecafed.com and click on that button that says Become a Member. It's just $7 a month. You'll be able to ask Sofia and any of the other experts that are on any of our Tuesday calls or any of our DivorceRX calls. So we look forward to seeing you back there. Just wanted to let you all know that next week we have an expert, Karen Aline Means, and she's going to be speaking about how to rewrite your story. She is an expert also in major life catastrophes and how to overcome crisis. So you'll be there, meet us with Karen on Tuesday, and next Thursday we're going to be talking about law and the legal aspects of before, during, and after your divorce. So join us. Always let everybody that you know about us so that we can spread the word and help heal some people through their divorce process. So I welcome you all to join us right now on our private Facebook group and ask away. We'll see you there. Thank you, Sofia. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Vicki. Thank you, everybody, for being there.
See you on the Facebook group. Bye-bye, honey.
Bye-bye.